Mister, I know how to save your company. What did you say? Kid, he was froze to hear this line from a street kid. How this kid knows about my situations? A ruined billionaire meets a street kid who claims to know who's destroying his empire. But when the truth is revealed, it's more personal and more dangerous than he ever imagined. But we start the video. Let us know where you're watching this video, and if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe Story Store, and please share your thoughts about this story in comment section. Rain poured relentlessly as Alexander Hughes sat on the cold, worn-out bench, his once powerful figure now hunched in defeat. His designer suit was drenched, clinging to his body as he stared at the crumpled dollar bill, the last of his fortune. Hughes Enterprises was crumbling, and he had nothing left. A street kid approached, his eyes sharp despite his ragged appearance. "You look worse than me today, mister." Alexander managed a weak smile. "Here, take this. It's all I've got left." He held out the dollar, but the boy didn't take it. Instead, his lips curled into a knowing smirk. "You're Alexander Hughes, right? The billionaire whose empire is sinking?" Alexander's heart skipped a beat. "How do you know that?" The boy shrugged. "I know more than that. I know about your name, about your company, and also who's ruining you." Alexander froze, his grip tightening around the bill. "What are you talking about? How? How do you know about all these? About my situations?" The boy leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "My mom knows something, because she worked for your company in past, but she was fired from your company for something she didn't do. And of course, how could a CEO know about this small matter? Right, but it affects our life. Anyways, she knows the truth." He paused, his eyes gleaming. "Do you want to save your empire or not?" Alexander froze, his mind was racing. The kid was right, he never tried to know about these types of small matters. Now he knows they were not small matters. They affect some people's life in bad way. He was convinced to meet his mother because of his confidence. Alexander's world spun as he whispered, "Take me to her." Alexander's curiosity burned. "Who's your mom?" The boy's eyes sparkled with hope. "Maya Thompson. She used to work for you, until she was fired for something she didn't do." Alexander's heart skipped. Maya. He remembered her, loyal, hard-working, but she was dismissed after accusations surfaced. He never questioned it, trusting his assistant's judgment. Why did this boy know so much? His jaw tightened. "Take me to her." The boy stepped back, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "You won't hurt her, right? She's all I have." Alexander's chest tightened. Why would he hurt her? What had she told her son about him? "I won't. I just need answers." The boy hesitated before nodding. As they walked, Alexander's mind raced. Why didn't he investigate the allegations? What if he was wrong? And why did the boy look so familiar? The pieces didn't fit, but he was about to find out the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Maya's heart raced as she opened the door, her eyes widening. "Mr. Hughes?" She hadn't expected to see him here, standing in her worn-out hallway. Alexander looked at her, his expression conflicted. "I need your help." Maya's eyes flickered to her son, who was busy drawing at the table. She stepped aside, letting him in. "He told you, didn't he?" Alexander's jaw tightened. "I should have protected you. Both of you. I believed lies I shouldn't have." Maya's shoulders tensed. "Why are you here now?" "I realized I was blind," he admitted, his voice raw. "I need to know the truth." She hesitated, then went to a closet, pulling out a dusty box. "Everything you need to know is in here. Emails, reports, proof of who betrayed you." Alexander's eyes widened. "Who?" Maya met his gaze, her voice trembling. "Your ex-wife and your trusted assistant." Alexander's world shattered. How deep did this betrayal go? And how far would they go to keep their secrets hidden? Alexander's hands trembled as he flipped through the documents, his eyes widening with every page. The numbers didn't add up, millions missing, funneled through shadow accounts. His ex-wife, Sabrina, had orchestrated it all, siphoning money while maintaining her perfect facade. But she hadn't acted alone. Ethan, his trusted assistant, had manipulated contracts, ensuring deals failed, leaving Alexander to take the fall. How long has this been happening? His voice was barely a whisper, his mind reeling. Maya's face was pale, her fingers tracing the edge of an incriminating email. Years since before, everything fell apart. She hesitated, watching the devastation in his eyes. They planned every move, making sure you'd never suspect them. Alexander's jaw tightened. Sabrina's charm, her feigned concern, it had all been a lie. But why would she go this far? Maya hesitated, her gaze dropping. Revenge, for leaving her, for choosing your company over her. His chest tightened. He remembered the fights, her accusations of neglect. But this was calculated, cold. He slammed the box shut, his eyes burning. I was blind. They were right in front of me. Maya touched his arm gently. We'll make them pay, together. Maya's hands trembled as she closed the box. You want me to testify? Her voice wavered. They fired me, destroyed my reputation. Who would believe me now? Alexander's expression softened. They will, if I stand with you. She stared at him, conflicted. He had been part of her nightmare, even if unknowingly. Could she trust him? His desperation was genuine. He needed her to expose the truth. A small voice broke the tension. Mom? Her son stood in the doorway, his innocent eyes wide. Will you help him? He's sad, like you were. Maya's heart tightened. She knelt, hugging her son fiercely. She had stayed silent to protect him, to shield him from the ugliness of the past. But if she didn't fight now, the people who ruined her life would continue hurting others. Her gaze lifted, locking with Alexander's. His eyes held hope and guilt. She saw his sincerity, his determination to make things right. Maya stood, her shoulders squaring. All right, we'll bring them down. Together. Relief washed over his face. They were no longer just victims. They were allies, united by pain, driven by justice and ready to fight back. They devised a plan to confront Sabrina and Ethan, knowing they needed undeniable proof. Alexander's jaw tightened as he reviewed the evidence Maya had gathered. They won't get away this time. Maya's eyes narrowed with determination. We'll lure them out, make them confess everything. She crafted an email, posing as an old colleague who had found some incriminating documents. She mentioned files that could destroy Alexander and secure their takeover of Hughes Enterprises. The bait was irresistible. Ethan replied within minutes, arranging a secret meeting with Sabrina. Alexander's stomach churned at the thought of his ex-wife's betrayal, but he forced himself to focus. They needed the truth. They chose an abandoned warehouse for the meeting, setting up hidden cameras and microphones. The dim, echoing space was perfect for privacy, or so Sabrina and Ethan thought. From a nearby van, Alexander and Maya watched the live feed. The screen flickered, revealing Sabrina's elegant figure pacing anxiously. Ethan arrived moments later, his expression tense. Are you sure no one followed you? Sabrina's lips curled into a cold smile. Relax. Alexander's too busy drowning in his losses to suspect anything. Maya's fists clenched as Sabrina continued. Once Hughes Enterprises is mine, he'll have nothing left, not even his precious reputation. Ethan laughed, his greed evident. And Maya? She was just collateral damage. Alexander's heart raced as the pieces fell into place. His ex-wife's betrayal ran deeper than he had imagined. Unaware of the cameras capturing every word, Sabrina's voice grew colder. By the time Alexander realizes it'll be too late, Hughes Enterprises will be mine, and he'll be ruined. Maya's eyes met Alexander's, fire blazing in her gaze. We've got them. Alexander nodded, his jaw set. It's time to end this. Armed with undeniable evidence, Alexander summoned Sabrina and Ethan to his office. The air was thick with tension as they walked in, unaware of the storm awaiting them. Sabrina's confidence wavered when she saw the fury blazing in Alexander's eyes. Ethan's face grew pale, his usual smugness replaced by fear. Alexander threw a stack of photos and documents onto the table. Recognize these? His voice was cold, controlled. Hidden meetings, embezzlement, manipulation. You betrayed me. You destroyed my company. My life. Ethan's mouth opened and closed, words failing him. It's not. This isn't what it looks like. Sabrina's facade cracked, her face draining of color. But she quickly composed herself, her lips curling into a bitter smile. You ruined our marriage, Alexander. You were never there. I was just returning the favor. Her voice was sharp, laced with resentment. Alexander's jaw tightened. So, you destroyed everything I built? For revenge? Before she could answer, footsteps echoed in the hallway. The police entered, their presence suffocating the room. Maya stepped forward, handing over the evidence. It's all there. Fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Ethan's face crumbled, his shoulders slumping. Sabrina's defiance shattered, panic flashing in her eyes as they cuffed her wrists. Alexander, please, she begged, but his cold stare silenced her. He watched them being escorted away, his heart heavy but resolute. Justice was served, but the cost was high. Now, he had to rebuild what they tried to destroy. With Sabrina and Ethan behind bars, Alexander faced the colossal task of saving Hughes Enterprises. The scandal had shaken the company's foundation, and trust was at an all-time low. But he wasn't alone. Maya stood by his side, determined to help him rebuild. They worked tirelessly, day and night, meeting with investors, reassuring clients, and restructuring damaged departments. Maya's insights and strategic thinking were invaluable, her dedication unwavering. Alexander began to see her in a new light, not just as an employee, but as an equal partner. They argued over strategies, debated marketing campaigns, and shared moments of laughter amid the chaos. Each challenge they overcame brought them closer, their bond strengthening as they faced adversity together. One evening, exhausted but satisfied, they stood by the office window, watching the city lights. "We did it," Maya whispered, her eyes shimmering with relief. Alexander looked at her, admiration evident. "I couldn't have done it without you." His voice was sincere, his gaze lingering. Maya smiled, her heart fluttering. "We make a good team." The company began to recover, slowly regaining its reputation. But Alexander realized he had gained more than just a business partner. He had found someone who understood him, who challenged him, and who stood by him when the world turned its back. Together, they were unstoppable, and as Hughes Enterprises rose from the ashes, so did the possibility of a new beginning for them both. The city lights sparkled below, a sea of possibilities stretching into the night. Alexander stood by his office window, his gaze distant, his heart racing. Maya joined him, her presence warm and familiar, yet his chest tightened with emotions he could no longer contain. "You saved Hughes Enterprises," he began, his voice low. "But you did more than that. You saved me." Maya looked at him, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "I just did what was right." Her voice was steady, but her heart pounded, sensing an unspoken tension. Alexander turned, his eyes searching hers. "It's more than that, Maya." He hesitated, vulnerability crossing his face. "I never expected this. Never expected you." Her breath caught, her pulse quickening. "Alexander." She whispered his name, a question lingering in the air. He stepped closer, the distance between them disappearing. "I've fallen for you," he admitted, his voice raw. "I tried to fight it, but I can't." Maya's eyes widened, her heart in freefall. She had imagined this moment but never believed it could be real. "I feel the same way." Her words were soft, but the confession hung heavy. Relief flooded his features. He took her hands, his grip firm yet trembling. "Marry me, Maya. Let me be part of your life, and your son's." Tears glistened in her eyes as she whispered yes. In that moment, surrounded by the city's lights, they found their new beginning, one they never saw coming. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of gold and pink as soft music played in the garden. Alexander stood at the altar, his heart racing, anticipation twisting in his chest. What if she changed her mind? What if this was all just a dream? Then he saw her. Maya walked down the aisle, her face glowing, her eyes locked on his. Her son clutched her hand, his small steps eager, his smile pure and bright. Alexander's breath caught, his vision blurring. Was this really happening? As she reached him, their fingers touched, and a spark of warmth shot through him. The world faded, leaving only her. "You came," he whispered, his voice cracking. Maya's eyes shimmered with tears. "I couldn't imagine being anywhere else." Their vows echoed in the twilight, each word a promise, a hope, a future. When he slid the ring onto her finger, his hands trembled, fear and joy mingling. Would he be enough for her? For her son. But as her lips met his, soft and warm, every doubt vanished. Their guests cheered, their son laughing as he ran into Alexander's arms. "Daddy!" The word was magic, breaking the last of his walls. Together, they rebuilt Hughes Enterprises, their partnership unbreakable. Standing under the starlit sky, Alexander held his family close, his heart finally at peace. In Maya's eyes, he found his purpose. In her son's laughter, he found his legacy.